Hi, I'm Tony Vergnetti, the president and founder of Feds. I'm going to spend the next few minutes briefly addressing your professional exposures and the protections provided by professional liability insurance for federal veterinarians. If you have questions or would like additional information about your professional exposures, please call us at Feds at 866-955-FEDS, 866-955-FEDS, or contact the National Association of Federal Veterinarians at 202-223-4878. Prior to founding Feds, I was a federal attorney in private practice and represented federal employees. And there are four things I heard over and over and over again. It was an oversight, an honest mistake. People make mistakes all the time, and they are significantly more egregious. So why is this happening to me? I have an exemplary record. The allegations are not true. How can I possibly be charged with misconduct? What do you mean I don't have DOJ representation for this lawsuit because there is a pending investigation against me? I didn't do anything wrong. Or the complaint is baseless. My actions were consistent with past practices. I answered all of the investigators' questions truthfully and honestly. How could they be recommending disciplinary action against me? No one's supposed to get fired from the federal government. This can't be happening to me. Federal employees have a hard time believing that they will ever need to hire an attorney to defend a work-related act, error, or omission. Unfortunately, in today's federal community, federal employees are targeted for a variety of reasons. Federal veterinarians face allegations from plant workers, special interest groups, elected officials, co-workers, subordinates, agency, or plant managers. And the allegations really run the gamut. Any allegation of negligence or wrongdoing, whether it was on the previous slide or not, can lead to misconduct investigations, congressional inquiries, or even state veterinarian board investigations. What you need to understand is that the name of the game these days is accountability. And unlike your predecessors, today's federal veterinarians are targeted for a variety of reasons. Your greatest vulnerability, in my experience as a federal veterinarian, results from the need to assign blame whenever you have a significant matter that, say, gets a lot of media attention, in any way negatively impacts the public, or anything involving political agendas or the agendas of other outside stakeholders. Let me tell you a little story about two of your fellow veterinarians who face proposed removals from federal service for identical reasons. Both were charged with noncompliance with FSIS directives for improper billing and coding, and both were also the subject of complaints from plant management. While both argued that the plant's complaints were baseless and untrue, and that their billing actions were consistent with well-established, customary, and past practice at their respective plants, this did not stop the agency from removing both of them from federal service, forcing them to have to appeal and litigate their removals before the Merit Systems Protection Board. One had Feds protection in place, which provided for his litigation and paid for it. The other one didn't have liability insurance in place and ultimately had to resign his federal employment after months of paying attorneys to defend the charges. He just ran out of money. This was a financial decision he had to make that was in the best interest of his family at the time. What we've learned from that is that a successful appeal for these removal actions is often cost prohibitive if you do not have a professional liability insurance policy in place. Again, I am a former federal attorney that represented federal employees for many years in private practice. And now I run an agency that protects federal employees. So listen carefully. When things go wrong or plants are sued by the public, the finger is often pointed at the on-site federal veterinarians for accountability. For you APHIS folks, you need to be very aware of the frequently changing requirements and conditions. You must be meticulously accurate on certificates. For those of you who work for NCIE, you need to be aware of your personal exposures when trying to balance the goal of facilitating trade with health, safety, and quality issues, and the desires of the shippers, receivers, and foreign countries. Should also mention, for those of you veterinarians who are also managers and supervisors, you should know that often the policy benefits are invoked due to employee allegations of harassment, discrimination, retaliation, wrongful termination, and whistleblower retaliation. Next, we're going to talk about civil suits. If your attention has drifted a bit, I need it back. Federal employees often believe that they can't be sued. This is simply not true. Personal capacity lawsuits against federal employees do happen. While they are rare, they do happen, and if it happens to you, it is an overwhelming, life-changing experience. In fact, it happened just several years ago to some USDA inspectors out in San Francisco. The bottom line is, in the performance of your federal duties, you can be sued, and the Department of Justice can deny to represent you, and you can actually be held liable for a judgment regardless of who represents you. So if you face a personal capacity lawsuit revolving out of the performance of your federal job duties, feds will assign you an attorney to defend. When DOJ declines to represent you, the fed's policy will also pay a judgment entered against you for a personal capacity lawsuit if you are found to be liable, up into the $1 or $2 million limit, depending upon which policy you choose. Fed's policy may also appoint coverage counsel to oversee the Department of Justice's representation of you in particular kinds of cases. So just to recap, professional liability insurance protects you in 3 ways from your civil liability exposure. It provides legal defense, coverage counsel, and pays damages. Let's quickly just provide an overview of what the policy provides. It provides coverage for these administrative, civil, and criminal exposures of all federal employees. Now, we didn't mention the criminal coverage here today because most veterinarians are not vulnerable to these kinds of investigations. The cost of the policy is only $280 or $380 annually, and that includes your NAFV discount. So when you do enroll, you need to make sure you put in your discount code, which is NAFV, during the online checkout process. Should also mention that employees that are classified as managers and supervisors are eligible for the agency reimbursement up to 50% of the cost of the insurance. Congress passed this legislation requiring agencies to reimburse managers and supervisors because good conduct does not always prevent you from being accused of wrongdoing or being sued. And while you may ultimately be vindicated, the process of accomplishing such vindication can easily cost you tens of thousands of your own dollars if you do not have a PLI policy in place. Should also mention that regardless of whether you're a manager or a supervisor, all federal employees are eligible for the coverage. We also do have payroll deduction available as a payment method. It works out to be about $12 a pay period, and there's information on our website on how you can get that set up. Finally, the hardest phone calls we receive are those from federal employees who don't have a Fed's professional liability insurance policy in place because they never, ever thought they would need an insurance policy to pay for an attorney to defend a job-related action or decision. Okay, the time to buy your insurance is not after the National Weather Service names the hurricane. Attorneys are expensive. Fed's protection is not. As a matter of fact, Fed's coverage for a year is less than the $300 or $400 per hour you're going to pay for an attorney if you need one. It takes less than 5 minutes to get enrolled. Simply go to www.fedsprotection.com or just give us a call at 866-955-FEDS. Thanks for your time today.